All may not be well with Labour Party ahead of the 2023 election. Now, first of all, the Ogun State Executive Council of the Labour Party on Thursday allegedly expelled the Director General of Peter Obi Datti Presidential Campaign Council, that's Dr. Doyin Okukpe, and 11 others for refusing to pay their membership dues. Now, although the party defied the crisis and unveiled a 62-page manifesto over the weekend, how ready and prepared is Labour Party ahead of the elections? Now we have joining us in the studio the media team member of Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council, Ibrahim Umar. Good morning and thank you for joining us on
Good
DAYBREAK
morning.
this
Thank you
morning.
for having me here.
All right, so first of all, let's start with the 62-page manifesto that was released recently. What makes it unique from every other candidate's manifesto?
Initially, I'll start by the number of the pages, the 62, which represents the years of independence of Nigeria.
Okay.
And you see it's packed with Nigerians. If you go through the manuscript, you find out that it is a masterpiece because it carries all the problem of Nigerians with a preferred solution to the problems. So I would say it is indeed a very commendable work by His Excellency Peter Obi and Senator Yusuf Datti Baba Ahmad. They did a great job for emancipating Nigeria and the Nigerian people, because this is a great job at this stage in time, at this moment. Nigeria needs someone that is strong, bold, someone that is blessed with both a wealth of experience and experience of wealth, someone that is physically and mentally fit to carry the responsibility of Nigerian people. So this is what some of the things that the manuscript contain. And if you go through it, you'll be impressed with what is written inside. And I assure you, it is really something that is going to emancipate Nigeria.
But in what ways, as she asks, you didn't answer that question, in what ways it differs from the Atiku plan or the Tinubu's renewed hope document and the Concourse and all other candidates who have released manifesto? What makes your own manifesto unique? What makes it stand out?
Yes, the thing that makes it stand out among the rest of the pack is, if you go through it, you find out that it is the main thing that people need that is being stated inside. For example, the securing the life and properties of the weak and vulnerable citizenry is the essence of the existence of government anywhere in the world. And that's the first among the 7 priorities of the government, securing the Nigerian people. And again,
what are the other priorities?
Yes, we have shifting the emphasis from consumption to production. And you agree with me, this is one of the problems we are facing in Nigeria. As they said, an idle mind is a devil workshop. I am a young man, I know, and you know what I mean when I say an idle mind is a devil workshop. The lack of unemployment in the country is part of the thing that is contributing to insecurity in the country, because estimatedly we have more than 10 million graduates roaming the street without work. So shifting from consumption to production will make every youth to have something to do in the country. And I assure you, this is part of the thing we need at this critical stage in time. And reforming the policy making of the country is part of the 7th priority. Fighting corruption is part of that, restructuring the policy making. And youth inclusiveness in governance is also part of it, and enhancing the human capital of the youth, particularly for us to see our potentials. I am an example of this. As a young man, I'm in my 20s. For Peter Obi to entrust me with this responsibility, it speaks volume of the government you expect come 2023. Inshallah.
Okay, so now this particular development's come in barely 48 hours, after the Director General of the Campaign Council, that's Doyin Okukpe, and 11 others were sacked. Does this in any way affect the chances of the Labour Party, during the elections?
But the secretary come out and defies what Labour Party Ogun chapter did. he said it's not in accordance with the constitution of the party. So I don't think it's going to affect anything.
Okay, Ibrahim, you know, your party, a lot of critics of the party will say you don't have a formidable structure. I know you always say the people are the structure, but then if you don't have something really strong in terms of structures at the state level, at other levels, that will help you prosecute this election, and you are having crisis like this that will lead to the expulsion, alleged expulsion of even your campaign DG from the party, which means that in the state chapter of his own state, there is no unity. How would this sort of divided house, if you allow the word, lead to victory in the election?
You know, there is nothing like division in Labour Party. We are united. Problems arise all the time, and we have our own problems. So is other parties. They have their own problem. We have our own, but it is not going to affect the election come 2023, because, you know, this movement of obedience is something that I would say is a divine movement. God's hand is inside. So the problem we are having is not going to affect the obedient train. And I assure you, inshallah, obedient train is going to land at the promised land come 2023, because the Nigerian people have just decided to forge a common front and just take back their country.
Okay, now talking about the manifesto, you know, a lot of Nigerians were expecting it to, you know, come out sooner than, you know, it did. Why was there a delay?
The delay came because we want to make sure that everything is being, everything in the problem of Nigerians needs to be known, and it needs to be ironed out in the manifesto. So that's what caused the delay in the coming out of the manifesto, because a lot of stages were followed before the final day of the release of the manifesto.
So now, apart from the manifesto, we're still on talking about the manifesto and also perhaps possibility of a Labour Party presidency or an Peter Obi presidency. What would people expect in terms of, because sometimes Nigerians would say that it's not just about documents, beautiful documents on paper, but in terms of implementation and how that actually affect the life of Nigerians, because even your candidate at some point dismissed the idea of manifesto that is not something that is most important. So what are the things that we expect to see different in under and maybe a Peter Obi presidency?
What you expect differently, ideally, is something that you know is apparent to all of us. The four major candidates, you just look at them, their track records, and ideally you understand that leading a country like Nigeria demands someone that is both physically and mentally fit. Not someone that is confused to even call the name of his party, and likewise the person that even his principal warns us against. So we need a person with good track record as well, both physically and mentally fit to carry the responsibility. And Peter Obi make it like, I am going to make people as the center of the government. Knowing the problem of the people, you know the solution of it. And before we see people are just at one side and the government are at another side. So Peter Obi is going to bridge that gap.
Between the government and the government.
Yes, and bring the synergy between especially the northern and southern part of the Nigeria, by having, like, everybody will have this sense of belonging. Everybody will feel this genuine sense of belonging in the government come 2023.
What you just said somehow sparked my interest in something that, of course, has been very topical regarding the Labour Party candidacy. The issue of it being a southern or maybe an Igbo project. A lot of people criticize that this is an Igbo project. What would you say to this?
But saying this movement, obedient movement, is Igbo project is laudable. Look at most of the Southeast governors are fighting against the project. That speaks volume that it is a pan-Nigerian project, not any Igbo, not any tribal agenda again. It's a pan-Nigerian project. And this conniving elite, they don't want the movement to attain success, because they know it is not their movement. It is the movement of the Nigerian masses the weak and the vulnerable, the poor, the youths of the country. They want to take back their country from this conniving elite.
Okay. Now, can you share your thoughts on what Femi Fani-Kayode said about Obi's manifesto, saying it is a pact with a devil and Labour Party should not be trusted with power? And some people actually seem to share that sentiment, considering the fact that a lot of other, in the past, a lot of other parties have actually come out saying that they're going to take Nigeria to the top, but you know, it was all false. All hopes were dashed.
He's entitled to his opinion. I respect his what he said, but you see, Peter Obi is a working example of what we expect come 2023. His track record in Anambra State speak volume. He is the person that deal with insecurity decisively in Anambra State. Make Anambra State, in terms of education, one of the best in the country. In terms of economy, while some other governors were leaving their state with huge debt, he left a huge amount of money in the account of an Ambarian. So this is what we expect from a person of this probity integrity. He is tested and trusted. So he's someone that, rest assured, we know he's going to deliver because he was tested and trusted.
But you know, two successors of Peter Obi, the former governor Willie Obiano, had come out at some point to say that the claim of the amount of money that you now say is humongous left behind by Peter Obi was not true. And then recently, the current governor, you know, Professor Charles Soludo, also came out very harshly on Peter Obi to mention that some of the things that you campaign with are not really factual. What would you say about this?
Yeah, Peter Obi is idea best. He said go and verify. Anything he said, he said go and verify. And most of the people that went ahead and verified, they found it to be true. So this money he left, it is true. Everybody knows that. And most of the people that went ahead to verify, they testify that he was saying the truth. They can say what they want to say because of their own political strategy. Most of the people used this type of strategy of saying, telling people a lie to manipulate them. But what Peter Obi said is definitely a factual fact because most people verify.
All right, so just before we wrap up, how prepared is the Labour Party for the 2023 elections? We
have a 5-star solid and firm preparation for 2023 election because my belief of structure is people representation, and we have representation in all the 774 local government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and across all crannies of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And the people are willing. It is a shishiless transaction. And you saw what happened.
What does that mean, shishiless?
Yeah, I mean, we are not going to buy people. Okay. Like our support for Peter Obi is born out of the strong conviction that he is the best among the pack. And he's the only person that is going to emancipate us from the shackle of insecurity, poverty, and many social ills.
But Ibrahim, looking at the reality of Nigerian politics, will you succeed without shishi?
Yes, to some extent. You have seen it. You have seen it. During the 1st October, a lot of people came out in mass to show their support to His Excellency Peter Obi. And we did not pay them. We did not pay them. The organic and unrefined love, you see it. He's the only person that enjoyed that among all the candidates. So the people are willing. He's the only person that gives them hope. So that's what you expect. Without that shishi, people are going to vote for us. They have shown it, and we think they are going to stick to that ideal of a better Nigeria more than people that will come and enslave them with money.
But looking at, still talking of money and also structure, looking at the people that he's up against, you know, perhaps he has the list, of course, with all respect to his very well accomplished profile, but he has like the least profile in terms of, you know, Konkoso was governor, minister of defense, senator, and all that. and then Tinubu, as well as Atiku. These are people that have a lot of muscles in terms of finance and network and all that. So you are convinced that Peter Obi will really be able to defeat all these three people?
The network you are talking about is a network of political cabals, I believe. And I tell you that these political cabals did not come from another planet. They developed themselves from the scratch. One day they were nothing even to be mentioned. And there are people that will come after them. And you see what is going to happen in 2023. Because the people, one man, one vote, that's democracy. And the people are willing to come out in mass and vote for their preferred candidate. Take 2015, for example. The present president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, doesn't have the muzu as the incumbent president, but he won because the people believe in him. He's the only person that gives them hope.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that discussion on the Labour Party manifesto and, you know, every other thing that has to do with the party. And that was Ibrahim Umar. He's a media team member of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you so much for joining us on DAYBREAK.
Thank you.